A marine in green, but not a salamander? No, this is an Auroran, one of the many lesser known chapters. Green power armor is a new technique for me, and I decided to try a simple dark skin tone. However, things didn't go as to plan as I would have liked, making this an interesting challenge. Let's do this. Welcome to 5 Minute Marine. I started from a white prime and chose for the basic armor colour Orc Flesh contrast paint. I figured it would be a good medium green tone that I could darken or brighten rather easily if it didn't look right. The mini itself is a kit bash of various bits I had lying around. I decided he would be the sergeant of a Devastator squad and grabbed some old bits from an apothecary to build the scanning gear on his backpack. I picked out the helmet in Mephiston Red, which denotes his rank as sergeant. For the armor gaps and everything I wanted to be metal, I used Black Legion contrast paint, my favourite black paint at the moment. I want to keep calling it the new contrast black, but it has been out a while now. Heck, I even called Primaris New Marines when they came out 6 years ago. I am getting old. Please send me chocolates and other confectionery to ease this existential anguish. A coat of Stormhost Silver distracts me from my woes with its shiny highlight over the black parts. Red looks good on green, so his shoulder trim and bolter strap get Mephiston Red, denoting him as belonging to the 3rd Company. Yay, heraldry! The bolt gun comes from the Sternguard veteran kit that GW have just announced they are retiring, and with all its kit bashing goodness I shall mourn its passing and sing many a lament. For the base of his flesh I chose Dryad Bark. It is a rich brown and easy to build on. Time to give the reds another thin coat. I chose Fenrisian Grey for his mohawk, but later on I would darken it down considerably with washes. This is just one of the things I changed my mind on with this mini, mercurial bint that I am. Good old Talasar Blue. It goes nicely over the sword and combined with gravity gives a nice subtle gradient on the blade. Swish! I paint the coil thing on his shoulder black. I then give some of the metal a bit more Stormhost Silver just to pick out the edges better. I come in with an edge highlight of Elysian Green along all the edges on the armour. Given he is wearing banded armour on his legs, that's a lot of edges. The Searchlight gets a coat of dead white. I thin Steel Legion Drab and use it to highlight the flesh. It irks me that most paint lines only use the word flesh for paints that represent Caucasian skin. Sort it out, you lot. I decided to panel line and coat the metallics with Administratum Grey to give it some more contrast, and it looks okay. However, at this point something feels off to me about the armour. The Searchlight gets Talasar Blue over the white. This is a great blue for anything glowy, like plasma coils. I thought a Waywatcher green glaze would help the armour, but I ended up just re-highlighting the whole thing with Warboss green. One thing I am really enjoying about these 5 Minute Marine videos is getting the chance to experiment and work with colours and techniques I have little or no experience with. I really rather like painting green armour now. I further blend the gradients on the blade with Guilliman Blue glaze. Now the silver highlight doesn't look so stark against the Talasar Blue. So much of mini painting for me is going back and forth with tiny tweaks and corrections. All the metal gets another highlight with Stormhost Silver. I felt the dry brushing earlier didn't give enough sparkle. Again, it's okay to try things and redo them if they don't work. So much of this paint scheme turned out much different to how I planned it, and I think it looks all the better for it. Trial and error is a fantastic learning tool. Everything I want to have a glow or reflection gets a light dry brush of Blue Horror. This gives a cool highlight on the lenses and the power sword and blends the gradients better. The grey panel liner from earlier was a little too monochrome for the green armour, so I grabbed my trusty dark brown panel liner from Tamiya and worked around the recesses. This colour change is very subtle, but I think it makes it look better. My plan for the base was to paint it with Vallejo Black Red and then go over the top with Martian Iron Crust. Apologies for the lack of clear footage of the iron crust, but I didn't like the result anyway and changed it later. The panel liner gives a glossy finish, and I wanted to pull that back. If I were doing a whole squad, I'd use a matte varnish spray, but for a single model I just used Lamy Medium. Since the base didn't turn out to my liking, it got painted grey, coated in Geek Gaming basing glue, and dunked into Geek Gaming's Grim Dark City rubble mix. Much better. Now, before I leave you with some beauty shots, please take a moment to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time on Bleeding Tree Gaming.